Good, everybody. Tonight we're doing our nonfiction post-apocalyptic, post-SHTF book club. We're working on, in my opinion, one of the best books out there as far as a comprehensive guide to preparedness, to hunkering down. He even gets into some bug out stuff in here, and that's James Wesley Rawles's book, How to Survive the End of the World as We Know It. I bought this edition, this copy in 2009, I think. Oh, no. I finished reading it August 18th, 2013, so 11 years ago. Just a great book. It's been a Bible type of a collection for me. Really enjoy it. I hope you all pick up a copy and read it and follow it. Just a phenomenal book. I will do a little bit of show and tell. I didn't find everything. You know, I just did a video on C for cotton for bandanas and my shema and everything else. I did that video maybe 2-3 weeks ago, and I don't know where I put that stuff. I was going to show you my bandana and use it as a prop to show you another way to purify water, but I spent at least an hour and a half going through the garage and the house just saying, what did I do with that stuff? And I can't find it. I do have some other props that kept me from getting a lot of the other filtration stuff I wanted to show you, but we can talk about that. So that's not a problem. So let's take a look at who all's here. I know that Gil was here fairly early. It looks like South Florida DCL. Good evening. Welcome. Gil was number 2, Shenanigans. Welcome. Muskoka Oma, and I know I saw Maggie in here as well. Let me see. I'm once again, I'm trying this mouse. Yeah, there's Maggie and Prepper for the Ages. Welcome. Good evening. Good to see you. I think I said Shenanigans. Utah Mike. Good evening. And who else? Is that about it? Let me see. There's 25 watching. So we've got a whole bunch just kind of chilling back and absorbing it. Diana too. Welcome. Good to see you. Prepper Book Club, good evening. Nice to see you. Mad Chick Acres, good evening. I was just watching you. Annie Luhu, good evening. Annie Luhu, aren't you the one who lives over in, or fairly close to where I do? And if so, don't forget this coming Saturday of the Texas Preparedness Group. We're having our monthly meeting. It's going to be in Georgetown at the San Gabriel Park. We're going to be at the Springs Pavilion, which is right across from the outdoor restrooms, and from 2 until 7. We're going to be talking about what we're talking about here tonight. It's a show and tell and discussion on how to collect, purify, and store water. Then we're going to cook our favorite meal using disaster prep type stuff, foods, canned goods, all that kinds of stuff. And then after we have dinner, then we're going to talk about trash, sewage, collection, disposal, how to keep everything clean, how not to get any infections and all that kinds of stuff. So it's going to be a pretty good, if you're in the area, we'd love to have you. It's open to everybody. Cats and Prepping, good evening. Welcome. Kaylin Strain, I think I said hello to you already. But anyhow, welcome. Tuck by V, good evening. Mother Earth Garden Club. Let me see, who else? Anybody else? I think I said Diana too. I hope so. Gosh, look at all these fantastic people here. Unbelievable. So let me do the present here, just in case anybody wants to come up here with me. No, it's not present. How do I do this? Invite. There we go. That's the link. So we're going to copy that. And if anybody would like to be live with me, if you have read this portion or you have some pertinent information to add, please feel free to click on that. We'll put you in here, and I may need help at times anyway. So let's get into chapter 4, which is water. So he doesn't get into it that much, but there are some certain critical things you want to remove from the water, and they can be divided into some broad major categories. So number 1, you've got large mineral deposits, solids that are going to be in the water, and you're going to do that primarily through a filtration device. You're going to have protozoa, amoeba, other microorganisms, and you're going to have to you're going to have to kill those basically, and then you're going to have chemicals. And so the chemicals you're going to have to either neutralize or eradicate. So, you've got those three major areas you've got to be concerned with as you collect and purify your water to make it potable. So he gets into a couple of those ways. And so he says, number one, plan ahead. So for example, I'm in Central Texas, and so we will flood during the months of April, May, and early June. We had another downpour today. And then starting about mid-June until almost December, we won't have any water precipitation at all. So we have our it's either fast or famine, and our feast or famine, I'm sorry. And so right now we're in the feast, but we're still under water restrictions. We're still in a severe drought area. So taking that into consideration, my first thought was I will go down to the river, and I call it a river, Brushy Creek, go down to the creek and get some water. So I started thinking, gosh, I'm kind of old, and carrying 40 pounds of water up a hill is not going to be the best idea. So a couple of years ago, probably maybe about a dozen years ago, I asked my daughter to get me one of those garden carts, 4-wheel garden carts, so I could put 2 5-gallon buckets of water in there, go down to the creek, maybe 100 yards, put the water on the wagon and pull the wagon up to the house. I thought that was a pretty good idea. And then, as I got older, and then when I broke my hip and everything else, then I said, there's got to be a better way to do this. So I put in a rain collection system. And so I have pretty close to 500 gallons of containers that collect the rain off the roof. And then that's going to be a rain catchment system is going to collect water. So I had to plan ahead. How am I going to get my water in the event of some sort of catastrophe? And so I would urge you to do the same thing. Just think, if I don't, there's Gil. Yay, welcome Gil. Let me get him up here. Hey, Gil.
Hey.
And so
I would have come up sooner, but the kids, before they left, the grandkids, before they left Dragon Ball playing on the TV in there. I could barely hear it, not enough to get a strike or anything, so I had to go stop it.
Oh, wow. So anyhow, I got the rain catchment system. And so now we have to go through the whole process of making sure that that's pure as well. So some of the ways that he recommends are spring water, well water, water from downspouts, the rain catchment system I told you about. And so basically he says that generally speaking, spring water and well water are fairly safe, and they don't have to go through too much of a process to purify. Especially if you have a fast flowing stream. Okay, the faster the water flows, the more pure it's going to be. Then the question is, do I have to worry about pesticides, methyl tertiary butyl ether, or heavy metal contaminants in well or spring water? Yes, that's always going to be a concern. And we've also got a lot of other things that are getting into our groundwater supply, to include ammonias and different types of fertilizers, insecticides, and everything else that is really fouling up our entire water system. So do you need to chlorinate well or spring water? No. So treating water from open sources must always be treated before use. Typical chlorine concentrations will kill bacteria, but not viruses. So he recommends a 3-step approach to treating water from open sources. Number 1, pre-filter it. Number 2, chlorinate it, and then number 3, filter it. So I want to do a little bit of a show and tell on when we talk about pre-filtering, and that's why I wanted to find my bandanas and my shema. What I do for pre-filter is I have a bottle, okay, and we're going to call this my dirty water bottle, and on it I have my handy dandy Rangers band. So you're going to take the top off, and then you're going to take your shema, or the finer the cloth, the better. In Boy Scouts, we used our Scout kerchief, okay, and covered the bottle. In this case, I'm just going to take a kerchief, and so you can put the kerchief over the bottle, put the rubber band back on top. And so now what you're doing is you're filtering out a lot of the large particulate matter. And you can then take this down into your source, and it's going to filter out the larger particulate matter through the kerchief or whatever into the bottle, this is still going to be considered dirty water. Okay, all you've done is stage 1 of the filtration process. Now, another alternative for that is, well, let me first go into some other things you can do. If that's how you are going to do it, then there's something I'm going to make a strong recommendation for. Go down to your local pet store or even to Walmart or another big box store. And if they have a pet area, okay, go into the pet area and they're going to have these cotton socks that they use to filter the water for the fish tank. Okay, that's 15 microns. That's going to be one of the finest filtration devices you're going to find other than a coffee filter. And that has a drawstring on it. So you can put it over your bottle and then use that as a filtration system. And that's going to be a marvelous filtration system. That sock is probably going to cost you $5 to $7, but it'll last forever. It's got a tie string on it. You can keep it, and it's going to do you a fantastic job of filtering your water. Another way is just go ahead and take your water, get it down into the water source, get it up, then get yourself a pour-over coffee system and a coffee filter, and you can put the coffee filter into here and then pour your dirty water into a clean water bottle. Okay, so I'm going to call it a semi-clean water bottle, rather than anything else. So that now you're going to have that first stage of filtration. So you've pretty much gotten rid of that. Then we're going to go through some sort of a chemical process or heat process to kill off the bacteria and the viruses. So you have to have water at 149 degrees for 3 minutes to kill off bacteria and viruses. Okay. So if you don't want to boil your water because you may be short on heat supplies, you can also use chemical treatments. And my preferred chemical treatment is Mira's water treatment. Now, I have to be honest with you. I like this so much and I've been using it so long that I became a distributor for them. So there will be a link down below and you can get a 10% discount. But this, in my opinion, is the best. And so I buy extra. I'll be giving away one of these, as a matter of fact, this coming Saturday at our party. Some lucky person will walk off with a bottle of Mira water purification tablets. The Army uses halazone tablets. They issue those to us. I still have a whole bunch of them in my canteen. That's what you put in the side pocket. You can also use unscented bleach, and you can also use chlorine. What else, Gil? What am I leaving out?
Chemical-wise,
yeah.
All right, there is, besides chlorine, there is, just lost it. It's a close cousin of chlorine. A lot of the municipalities have gone to it. It's a little bit harder to get rid of. For fish and stuff, you get something called dechlor. You put a couple drops in it and the water to take the chlorine out of it. If your municipality uses this other stuff on it, you got to use a couple more drops to get rid of it. But one of the things that I personally like using, because I did this for my koi fish, where I used no chemicals at all, and my water tasted purer than tap water. I used a multi-stage fish pond filtration system with the UV light tubes where the water flows through slowly. And the UV light tubes, the big tubes, were 35 watts. If you have a 100-watt solar panel, you got that handled.
So we've got calcium hypochlorite being offered by V, and absolutely, you're correct. We've also got pool shock, which is another form of chlorination. And I believe that might be calcium hypochlorite in and of itself. I'm not sure. But both of those are ideal. Yes, absolutely. Obviously, you guys have got a little bit of experience and have a little bit of knowledge. So thank you for sharing that.
For a new water pipe, one of the things we used to do in construction, to lay the new water pipe, we'd flush it once first. But as we laid the pipe, every joint got a little dab of mastic inside the spigot. and a not actually pool shock, but it was similar, that was put in each pipe. And so we flush it once quickly before that had a chance to dissolve, and drain it just to get any chunks out. And then we would charge the line and let it sit for 48 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would, as we flushed it, we had to mix with it a dechlorinizer before we go into the storm drain to go out to the ocean.
So Roland Prepper talks about sphagnum moss being an effective filtration system, and absolutely that's correct. And then Kaylin Strain is talking about carbon filter. So if you look at, and there's probably several channels here that show you how to take a couple buckets and make your own basically gravity water filter, and you're going to use different things. And one of them is going to be activated charcoal, just like Kaylin's talking about. You're also going to put sand in there and a couple other things, and that's going to be your gravity filtration system, because yes, the activated charcoal will get rid of a lot of the viruses and bacteria. So, and then step 3, of course, according to the book, is going to be some sort of a filtration purification system. I don't like the straws. So, you've got the life straw and those other things. I don't know if anyone here has used one, but my lungs and my stomach are not strong enough to suck water through those things.
We had several years back when Will was still alive for just-in-time prepping. Several people got sent these ones. Hey, can you do a review on these? Well, nobody tried sucking through it until one of the channels did. And he goes, he couldn't do it, and he put a pressure test on it, and it held pressure. So nothing was getting through it. Not air. He was just doing air. Air was not going through it. It was a bogus brand out there. It wasn't Life Straw itself. It was one of the knockoff ones on it. And everybody else went back and redid the things, pulled down their old videos and said, all right, this is the retest. We actually tried using it, and you can't use this one. So you got to be careful of them on some of those, especially the cheap knockoff ones. They do not allow stuff. Some of them don't allow stuff to go through.
Yeah. And so what I would encourage you, my personal objection with the personal water straws. I mean, if that's all you're going to get, that's all you're going to get, and you're going to have to make do. But I have 2 major objections. Number one, when I tried to use it, I just did not have the I don't know, what do you call it? The capacity to suck through it. I could not get the water up through it. The second thing is, your face is now within 6 inches of a contaminated water source, if that's where you're getting your water from. And I really don't want to have my face that close to something that's contaminated. I would rather have another means. So then the next step up from that is to get yourself a personal filtration bottle. Okay. And so the personal filtration bottle, and the one that I have is made by Seychelles, Seychelles. They have one filter that is the only filter on the market that purports to remove 99.9% of radioactive fallout from the water as you drink it. My problem with that is, if I'm going to hike with a radioactive water, or with radioactive fallout dust inside my water, and then it's getting collected inside that filter is still on my hip as I'm walking around. So I really don't want to have radioactive fallout that close to my body in a filter. I'd rather be able to extract it and throw it away, do whatever. But anyhow, so the next step up is basically having a filtration bottle that you can get a little bit of assistance in the fact that you can squeeze the bottle. You can also have it in a position where you're getting a little bit more assistance from gravity, but still you're trying to get water through a filter that's going to be somewhere in the vicinity of 0.01, probably up to 0.05 microns. The larger the number, 0.05 is going to be easier to suck than a 0.01. Okay. So you're going to be trying to suck the water out of that bottle. Same thing. So I prefer pressure systems or gravity systems. And my pressure system I have 3 of them, is the Survivor Filter Pro. It has a pump. So what you're doing is you're sucking water out of the dirty contaminant with a hose, putting it through the pump, through the filtration system, and then it has a discharge hose that's your clean hose. So that's my number one choice is Survivor Filter Pro. Number two, Life Straw and help me, Gil, what's the other company? There's two of them. Life Straw and the other one have these bags, 3.5 gallon bags that hang from a tree. And it's a gravity system. Who was it?
I can't think.
Hang on. Catadin?
Hang on. I think I got one over here. Oh, the Catadin actually has a pump system on it, and they got a whole bunch of them. Really good stuff. But the other one, I'm looking over here at the stuff I've been sent because someone sent me stuff. It wasn't Life Straw. They sent me one. I'm looking over on my shelves over here to see if I can see it here.
Teresa's got it. It's a Sawyer system. There we go.
Sawyer, yes, Sawyer.
And so that I like both of those. So what you do is you fill it up, and it's going to take about 2.5 to 3 hours for 2.5 gallons to filter through the gravity filter down through into your collection device. That's the exact same thing you're going to get with any of the home filtration systems like a Berkey or a Berkey clone. Okay, is you've got a 2.5 gallon tank. You're going to put your water in there. It's going to drip through. It's going to take a couple hours to get through, but you know that's going to be your long-term solution. So I have 3 different filtrate. Other than my camping Sawyer and Life Straw, I have 3 different tabletop silver gravity filters. I have a Berkey, I have a SimPure, and I have I forget what it is. But the third one that I have, what I like most about it, and it'll probably become my primary, is it has a UV filter in the spigot. So that after it goes through the 0.01 microns in the tank, it comes down, and then anything that has made it through is now going to be exposed to that UV filter, and it'll get killed through the UV filter. So let me see. Good advice, Tuck. So let's see what Tuck said. Yes, absolutely. Sterapin's fantastic too. Now that's not going to get rid of any of the chemicals or any of the solids or anything like that. It's only going to get rid of the live stuff, the viruses and bacteria.
Now I got something here I want to share. So where is it? Present, share screen, entire screen share. So it should pop up down below here in a second. Okay, this is a great for a homemade system, and I've done it. You have 2 5-gallon buckets. The upper one, you put the this unit here, the ceramic thing, which is a 0.2 micron ceramic filter. That has the silver lining on it, so it kills bacteria as it goes through it as well. And so you put that in the 5-gallon bucket. You put that bucket over another bucket. You put the spigot on the lower bucket, and you put some filter material on top, like a couple T-shirts or whatever. And you pour your water through. That takes care of your bulk stuff. This ceramic cone takes care of most of the rest of the stuff, and since it's got the silver lining, it takes care of the bacteria and viruses going through it. And then you have water there to drink, and then you can also then go ahead and heat the water if you want to heat the water or anything else you want to. That's a simple DIY system.
I was looking at one of these just earlier today, and it had a sock with it, and the sock fits over the ceramic.
There's the sock there.
Okay, yeah. So there's a double filtration system.
Yeah, so you can catch the stuff with the big stuff with the T-shirt material over the top. Then the sock catches more stuff, and then the filter catches even more stuff.
Absolutely.
And that's and for $25, that'll take care of a lot of stuff right there.
So that Seychelles bottles have different kinds of filters. Absolutely correct.
Yeah.
They've got about 4 different kinds of filters, and fantastic. They used to be sold by the LDS Provident Living Centers. Yeah. They aren't anymore, but I bought all of my Seychelles supplies from the Provident Living Center from the LDS back, years ago. but they didn't have the nuclear filters. I had to order those separate. But then, as I did more and more research, I found out that almost anything will reduce radioactive fallout by about 99%. Anything that is a 0.03 or better micron filter.
So one of the things also to consider when you're if you're going to be making your own filtration system where you got a rain catchment system, you get yourself a 30-gallon barrel. You fill it, you plumb, you have a sock thing. That's right. You run it pipe down into the bottom, so the water goes down that pipe and filters up through it. You fill it halfway full of sand, so 15 gallons of sand. You get a filter medium from a fish supply store, and you cut it so it fits over the sand, and then you fill it with bulk coconut shell for water filtration. The rest of it. So that's another.
That's got activated carbon in it.
Yes,
that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
So this is 22 pounds, or no, this is 20 pounds of activated charcoal, and that's going to last a long time.
Oh yeah.
And so so basically you have a 30-gallon filter there that is going to last you a long time.
Thousands of gallons.
Hundreds of thousands of gallons.
Shenanigans says that he got water bottles from Patriot Supply and they have filters in them. Yeah, that's the same thing as the Shea Shell bottle. And then NC Farmer talks about a specific brand name of those filtration bottles, and that's the Grail system. Now, the Grail system is a pressure system. So basically, it's kind of like a coffee press, okay? In a French press coffee system, where you're going to put your water inside the bottle, then you're going to screw the top on, and it's got the top portion of the bottle with the filter is going to be protruding up. You're going to put pressure on that. So as you push down with the pressure on the water that's already inside the bottle, it forces it up through the filtration system, so that now when it's all the way down to the bottom, you've got it so that you've got clean water inside the system, and all that dirty stuff is at the bottom. All you have to do is wash that out once you're done.
Okay, chloramine is what a lot of the utilities, a lot of municipalities are adding to the water. Chloramine. This is zero water. It reduces lead and chloramine and the PFOAs and the PFOSs, the chemicals and stuff. This outperformed every single commercially made water filter on the market. It buried Berkey, it buried Aquapair, it buried everybody. But you got to look at the price of how long the filters are good for, and how long you got to replace these filters.
So we talked about that. I did a video on that where you need log books, and so one of the log books you're going to want to have is keeping a log of how much water you have put through your filtration system. Because these filters, even though they may be good for 300,000 gallons, if you don't keep track of it, pretty soon, you don't have as well. You can pretty much tell because the water is not going to be coming through once it gets plugged. But I want to keep track of it. Utah Mike asks, what about the ceramic filters? So Utah Mike, that's pretty much going to be your gravity systems. Mm-hmm. That's going to be your Berkeys and your Alexa Pures and SimPures.
Has Berkey tried coming back? Because I know they were going out of business. There were several states.
That was the rumor. I called the day I heard that they were going out of business. I called them, and they said no, that's not true. There's a rumor, and if I hear that rumor, to stop it. But
there are several states have banned them from selling because they don't meet what they claim they do.
I don't know. I don't know.
I know that Iowa is one. California is another one that has banned Berkey. And so, and then Berkey's got, we don't want to share our proprietary stuff with the states because they might leak it out on how they do it. and that's BS. But there was other things that they were banned for mismarketing. But for your ceramics and stuff, there are several ones that like the one I showed you, that sock one there that goes over the ceramic one.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I use here. And I'd say I have the housing unit froze. The housing unit is a knockoff of the Zen system. Everything's identical. And to use the Zen, I use the Zen filters in this one. So, but it's so I have I'll have the ceramic one, which is the 0.2 micron, and then it goes through a charcoal filter and several other stone type filters and stuff. So it's got a 5-stage filter after the ceramic filter.
So Little Lone Pepper's kind of summarizing here that if you don't have anything else, strain the sediment through a tight woven material, and that's what we were talking about. And you can use a coffee filter. You can use the fish filters. The ones that you use for the to clean the fish tank. Those are 0.15 microns. I mean, that is pretty doggone good for the price. And so you're going to get most of your solids out that way. And then, of course, if you get it to 149 degrees for 3 minutes, then you're going to kill off any remaining bacteria or virus. So, yes, absolutely correct. And now the key there is 149 degrees. So remember that water boils at different temperatures depending upon your elevation and the pressure that the air pressure that you're going to be under at your different elevations. So,
which is basically 212 degrees at sea level, and the temperature drops as the higher you get up in elevation.
Right.
But actually, let me look something up here for you. I don't think anybody is actually living at 10,000 foot elevation. Let me look that up. So that gives you, I'll give you the most one. On here.
So next in the book, and we were talking about this earlier, somebody's talking about pool shock, which is calcium hypochlorite. So if you use approximately 1/4 of an ounce, which is basically 1 heaping teaspoon, for each 2 gallons of water, dissolve it in a plastic or glass container, and then introduce that, add that to your water to disinfect 1 part to each 100 parts of water. So basically 1% of that solution into your water will purify it.
And
So
what was the temperature you were saying to boil the water for?
2 minutes.
What temperature?
149.
Okay, water boils at 193.6 degrees Fahrenheit at 10,000 feet elevation.
Okay.
There's not that many people above 10,000 foot elevation.
Well, I'm sorry, it doesn't say boiled. It says water that is heated to 149 for 2 minutes is free from living microbes.
So if you see it, and it takes several minutes to get from 149 up to boiling point.
Right.
So when you see it start boiling, you give it a minute of boiling.
You've probably already done it.
You've already done it.
Yeah.
So, and that covers just about anywhere unless you're up in the high Uintas at 14,000 foot elevation. Of course, you're going to have a hard time breathing up there anyways.
Gil, would you look up a Berkefeld, Berkefeld, white ceramic filter?
Spell that again.
Berkefeld.
ELD.
White ceramic filter.
Okay. Okay. Here I got several things here. Coming up here. Okay.
Hello, North Carolina farmer. Welcome. Good to see you.
Okay, so here let me present again. Share screen, entire screen, tab, share.
Got it.
All right, so I looked it up just as the Berkefeld water filter, and they got their stuff here on it, and then of course they got the sales stuff on it. Now for the ceramic filter, let's take a look at that. Okay, they say remove 99.9 of contaminants from your water with the Berkefeld same day shipping. But let's see if I can get into the.
Now remember, this is a 2013 book, I think, 2009. Yeah. But anyhow, he says that that's what he is recommending for you to build your home system with. October 2009 was the first printing.
Yeah.
So
And so this is a
to
British,
build your home system.
yeah, this is a British filter, and it's trying to go in here. That came with Berkey, so I guess Berkey's using the Berkefeld filter, at least on this one here, and it's not giving any specs, really. Okay, let me see if I can find some else on it. I'm try PE spec sheet. Let's see what we got here. And it's trying to get. See if it'll give any information on it there. Okay. One has. Okay. So you got the 7-inch one, and then you have the 7-inch one for that also does fluoride. So we'll do just the regular one first. See if it gives any spec sheet on it here. No, it's okay. There it's starting to go here. Okay, so lifespan claim. E. coli is 99.999. Microbiology, so these are, the PFAS says it's 99.999 tested on 800 gallons.
Wow.
That's important.
Yep.
Chlorine reduction is 99.44 on 800 gallons tested. Heavy metals is 99.9. Lead reduction is 99.5. I'm going to pronunciate this. Glyphosate reduction, that's the Roundup chemical. 99.5%.
And this is on the Berkefeld?
Yes.
Fantastic.
And so pharma reduction, I'm not sure if that's talking about pharmaceuticals. That's 98%. Herbicide reduction, 99.2. Pesticide reduction, 99.44. Fluoride, got to use the fluoride version. You're worried about getting fluoride out of your water filter. Microplastics, 99.99. So it's the lifespan is 800 gallons for a pair of them. Using a pair.
400 gallons each.
So the price on this is $45 per unit.
So you're getting about $1. It's costing you $1 to get to clear 10 gallons, right?
400. So 90 to 8. Yeah, it's about $1 for 10 gallons. Unless you get the 4-pack, then the price drops from 45 down to 36. Then it becomes a lot more economic.
So now what you've got to do is you've got to do the arithmetic on how long do you think that this problem will last? Mm-hmm. And if you're going to drink 1 gallon per day, or you're going to consume, is a better way to put it, 1 gallon per person per day, then how many gallons? So that number of gallons times the time duration you expect it to happen, divided by the 400 gallons per filter. And it's going to start getting expensive. I can tell you that much. Water filtration is going to be expensive, which is why Utah Mike has another solution, and that is that he plans on distilling his water.
Yes. And Courtney at White Family Farm bought a distiller. There were several other channels bought distillers off of Amazon for that. And the fact that, we can also do our tinctures too.
We can also do spirits, yes.
It's for tinctures. Yeah. But one of the things to consider on your water, you don't have to filter everything down to that degree if you're using it for washing clothes, taking a bath, flushing the toilet. You can use dark gray water for flushing the toilet.
I'm still totally upset. I think that anytime we develop a new community, we need to have 2 water pipes coming in. One of them needs to be clean water for the sinks in the house. And then we could use gray water to the toilets for flushing. We could also do it to the outdoor spigots for the lawns. And, you know,
you're going to love what I did. You're going to love what I did to the house in California. So the master bath, outside of the master bath is where the air conditioning unit was sitting.
So you used the condensed water?
I built a platform above it to shade it so it got better performance. On that, I put an IBC tote. I ran a hose from that down with a solar panel and a battery to power the RV pump, water pump, ran it down to the toilet and had a diverter valve at the toilet. Now, Contra Costa County Central Sanitary District would give away free the light gray water. It's been processed and stuff, and for use on lawns and decorative landscaping. And it's what Caltrans, California Department of Transportation, used to water the meridian strips, the plants in the meridian strips. But you can go down there and you get it for free. And so I had another tank in the back of my truck. Went down there, filled it up, came back, pumped it into the tank up by the above it. And so we flushed toilet with used toilet water.
Yeah.
Think outside the box, folks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why we don't have, gray water just resent back to the area to use for either, because what they do is they put it on public golf courses. Yeah. So why can't we use it for our, to water our lawns?
And that's the thing is, so after Contra Costa County started doing it, the East Bay Municipal Utility District started doing the same thing.
Yep. So Maggie says that she's okay with the zero water because you'll smell it when the filter is done. It smells like fish. So I have 2 zero waters out in the garage. I've never opened them, never used them. They're just there just in case. And so I went on this. I kind of at times go on sprees of certain things where I, focus on something for too long and have a whole bunch, knives, water filtration systems, cook sets. I mean, I guess I have attention deficit disorder. Once I get on the thing, I just kind of focus on it. But anyhow, so I have 2 zero waters out in the garage. So it's good to hear, Maggie, that those are good to have. Let me see. Grail does look awesome. It's not in my budget either, Tuck by V. Grail is one of the Cadillac systems, and so you're gonna pay an awful lot for it. If I'm not mistaken, and maybe you can do that again, Gil. Look up the Grail purification system. I think it's like $79.
All right, spell it, please.
Water bottle.
Oh, Grail, right there. Okay, G-R-Y, Grail.
G-R-A-Y-L.
Yeah.
I think it's $79 for a water bottle.
All right. They got several different types here, so I'm just going to see what comes up here and present. I got it's just too much for me to say, so I'm just going to present. This picture's worth 10,000 words. All right, so you got the different ones. This is 16.9 fluid ounces for $80. This is a 24 ounce for $99. This is 24 ounce, a little bit different. 200. Oh, this is an expensive one, 219.
Yeah. So now you know why I say I can't afford one.
Yeah. So this is everything packed into the one condition. This has everything on it there. Yeah. So you got different ones.
Is there a video or something on there, Gil? Is there something that shows how it operates? Because basically you pull out the upper top, and it's kind of like a French press, coffee French press system.
Yeah. All right, let's see if it has the. No. So, come on, get out there. So it looks like he's pushing it down in right now.
Yeah, it's just like a French press. So you got to push down. The filter is in the upper portion. You're pushing down into
and
the
water's
water,
coming through.
and forcing it up inside the inside tube.
You could probably find a video on
it. There it is. So this clear part here, that's the filter down the black part. Down on the bottom is the filter. The clear part's going to be your potable water. Then your dirty water goes in that brown container on the left. So then as you push it down, it forces that dirty water up through the black filter into that clear container, and that's going to be your potable water.
And one of the things I noticed here on it, right down here at the bottom, that white semi-translucent.
That's the gasket. Yeah.
That's the gasket there. And then there's there's another gasket up here at the top here. It looks like a little gray one. So once you have it. Now, one of the things I've learned about most of these gravity well water filtration systems, especially the ones that say they you can get $10,000 through this straw one. Well, yeah, you also got, after you use it twice, you got to take some clean water and force it back through it to flush it out.
Back flush, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, you got to make sure you have clean water to back flush it, because as soon as you suck through it again, that clean water is what's coming back up at you. So if you use dirty water to flush it out, that you're going to be getting, dirty water back up at you.
Okay, so Holly Ivans has a great question, and Holly, I have to give you two different answers. Okay, so please bear with me. So the first answer is, if the water was in contact with the fireball at the time of the eruption, at the time of the nuclear detonation, that water is now radioactive. However, in almost every case that they have done scientific studies on, that radioactive water goes down. It violates the 710 rule. That radioactive water basically loses all of its radioactivity within 5 minutes after having been irradiated. Okay. Case number two. So as long as the water is more than 5 minutes old, you're safe. Case number two is fallout is basically a dust. Okay. Think of it as being about the size of a snowflake, a dust particle, a sand particle, and it's very obvious. So if you want to check on whether or not you have fallout in your area, just take something that's white, a sheet of paper, a plate, anything that's got a smooth surface, lay it outside. And if you don't see anything falling on it, you don't have to worry about fallout. If it has gotten into your water system, as long as you have at least a 1 micron filter on your water filtration system, you're going to remove 99.99% of all radioactive contaminants from that water. So 1 micron is very easy. That fish filter I told you about that you can get at Sam's, at Walmart, that's 15 microns right there. So basically, any good water filtration system that you buy, commercial water filtration system, we're talking about hundreds of a micron. So they're definitely going to get that radioactivity, that fallout out of the water. So I hope that answers your question. Gil, do you have any idea on any thoughts on that?
The other thing is to consider on it is nukes were way, way down at the bottom of the list for Homeland Security, for preparedness. However, a dirty bomb was up quite a bit higher. And there's a big difference between a nuke and a dirty bomb. A dirty bomb is somewhere someone makes something with the stuff and they detonate it, not to use the radiation material as part of the explosive, but just to disperse it into an area. And that has a longer half-life cycle than the radiation from a nuclear detonation. So,
yep. And so Maggie says,
what the event was. What was it? Was it actually a nuke? Was it somebody doing a dirty bomb? Which way the wind is blowing? What speed is the wind blowing? Is there any rain between you and where the detonation was at? Because that'll help remove particles from the air before it gets to you. Right. It's almost a book on
So the other thing about a dirty bomb is a dirty bomb has a very limited area that it's going to affect.
Mm-hmm.
In comparison to a nuclear explosion, it's going to have a wider area, blast area. And then, of course, it's going to throw stuff up to a higher altitude. So when you have a dirty bomb, basically think of taking a whole bunch of used up deuterium tubes out of a nuclear power plant, putting those on the outside of a truck and then packing the inside with something like ammonium nitrate and then blowing it. You're not using the irradiated materials as an explosive device. You're just trying to cast as much radioactive material in an area as you can. So the real force is going to be whatever the explosive device was inside that truck or whatever. And it's going to be very limited. It probably usually won't be any larger than about 3 blocks.
Now, fortunately, this part was declassified, so I can talk about it. There was beliefs at the time that they were going to try to set some small explosive dirty bombs off near water reservoirs, where it would just disperse over the reservoir, like send a boat out there, and nobody know what was going on because it would all settle down in the water and be in the water supply. But then they found that a lot of the water treatment plants were running their stuff and would have removed 90-something% of it from it. But the thing is, though, now they have almost the water treatment plants have a radiation alarm built in now for that. So once that happens, all right, get all these installed. Once they're installed, we can declassify this. And so that's where we're on that. So that's when it comes to nuclear stuff, that's a whole nother rabbit hole. And the probabilities on that go up. I mean, you know that, how many times we're going to get nuked since 1960. How many? We're going to get nuked. We're going to get nuked. And it's like, how many times have we been nuked since 1960?
Well, most people don't realize it, but there's only been 2 nuclear explosions in conflict in the history of the world, and that was Nagasaki and Hiroshima. And then if you look up the survival rate of both of those, the population of both cities, 75% survived. And
it had a higher survival rate than the firebombing of
Tokyo. Yeah, and it had a higher survival rate than the firebombing of Dresden. I mean,
it's bad. The results are bad. The after effects are bad for those that have it. But it's, for water, I mean, on my list, it's on the appendix, the 100th page of the appendix. It's way back there. I'm not so worried about that because my regular water filters take care of it.
I agree with you, NC Farmer. I believe that the Katadyn system, Sawyer and Katadyn are very high quality products. I like both of them. Life Straw is a good quality product. You can take the Life Straw itself, and it has a screw attachment on it. You can attach it to a bag that's hanging from from a branch or something like that, or from the house, whatever, and it becomes a gravity system through that straw. Now, it's going to take you a while to get that water through it, but if you use it as a straw, it's a very difficult thing to use.
Something else for you that I thought about and I forgot to mention at the time. You can take a fluid transfer pump, hand pump, hook it up to the Life Straw, drop the Life Straw in the stream, and sit there and pump it into a glass.
You can do the same thing with a brake bleed pump.
Yeah. And so you do one of these, but you get one of the the food safe fluid pumps, and that way it filters your Life Straw. You're not trying to go, I'm hyperventilating, trying to draw through it.
Okay, so let me see where we are. Oh, good evening, Pete. Welcome. I know you've had a lot of stuff on the phone as far as business here recently, so thank you for taking the time to be with us here this evening. So for those of you who don't know, Pete is a pharmacological chemist. So anything you want to know about chemistry and all that kinds of stuff, he's my go-to guy. He's my expert that I go to for good stuff like that. So and he touches on something that's very near and dear to my heart. And back in 1997, we had an electric storm, lightning, hit our sewage treatment, our sewage pump for the Brushy Creek mud. You can look it up, Brushy Creek mud, cryptosporidiosis outbreak. And so what happens is our pump, we live up on top of the hill. Everything was gravity fed down to the pump. The pump collected all of the sewage and then pumped it up over a hill, and then gravity fed that down into the city of Austin, into their sewage treatment system. Well, lightning hit our pump. So when it hit the pump, all that sewage was coming down the hill into that collection area, but it wasn't being pumped up the hill to fall down into Austin. So it all just kind of collected right there.
Yeah.
Well, Brushy Creek is what we use for our drinking water supply as well. So our water collection was a couple hundred yards upstream from where the contamination happened with the sewage. But what we didn't know was there was a fracture in the karst. And so that raw sewage was going directly down to our wellhead. And so we were drinking raw sewage basically for almost 24 hours before anything happened. And so we had a major outbreak of cryptosporidiosis. As a matter of fact, my daughter was the first confirmed case. And so they had some people from CDC fly out from Atlanta. And I mean, and we were watching the X-Files when they landed. And then when they got to the door, they looked just like Scully and Mulder, you know, I mean, in black suits and everything. And but they wanted to do a fecal test on Allison right then and there, and they did. And so that took some, and that's the main reason why I have this. The number one reason I have this is because I am scared to death of the stuff that's going to happen with people who don't know how to control their sewage in a post-apocalyptic world. I've got my stuff taken care of. I've got porta potties and everything else. I've got I'm getting a burn barrel so I can take care of everything. What I can't really say I'm 100% sure of is what my neighbors are going to be doing. And I can't convince them to do the same thing. So I've got to have that for just in case.
When you're talking about a burn barrel, one of the things you can do to help the efficiency of it is have air fitting at the base of it to give it extra oxygen to get the temperature hotter in there. And if you really want to go whole hog on it, you can put a propane tank from like those weed burners on it down in there too. So you're firing air, you're moving air in there and extra propane for extra fuel to get it hotter. So you are going to burn the stuff at a higher temp quicker.
No, that would be great. Thank you.
And it'll reduce the amount of smoke it's putting off as well.
So Triple G says that for waterborne illnesses, the cheap and effective solution is metronidazole and Imodium. I hope I pronounced that semi-correctly there. And okay, so the only thing we have left now is to discuss now that we've got it clean, how do we store it? So I was getting the Reliance, and I believe they're 6 gallon. It's not a 5 gallon, but I think it's a Reliance, the blue buckets. And I think it's 6 gallons. But you know what? As I started trying to lift those up on the shelves at my age, water is about 8 pounds per gallon, and that's a 6 gallon jug. That means it's 48 gallons. 72 years old. I don't have the muscles I used to have when I was on active duty. So trying to lift 48 gallons up 2 or 3 shelves, not the best thing in the world to do. So I have 4 left, but they're on the ground. They're on the bottom. And then anything above that, I'm getting the 3.5 or 3.5 gallon water bricks. And I prefer those. They're stackable. 18 pounds 3 times 8 is 24. 24 pounds is a lot easier for me to maneuver than is 48 pounds. Now, one of the other things I'm doing is I drink these. You've seen me all night. I drink this. When we get done with this evening, I'll cut this label off. We'll wash the bottle, dry the bottle. Then we get one of these, and then I have a whole bunch of these. So this is 1 liter. I will fill it up with filtered water, and then this goes into my water storage system. And so this becomes my number one solution as far as having potable water available to me, is keeping them in these containers that used to contain flavored water. So
something that works a little bit better than those, if you get the gallon jugs of vinegar for canning and stuff and everything out like that, from like a Costco or Sam's Club, or even Walmart has the singles, but like that, you have the doubles of them. Those jugs are a lot more stronger, last longer, resilient, a lot more resilient, because they've had that in there. And those those have a less chance of breaking when they get knocked over, whatever. And so there's that one too. Now, one of the things I'm doing here that I just discovered, really neat one, I'm getting 45% vinegar jug. Those are even heavier duty than the others. I'm saving those. I'm using that for a weed killer because, hey, it's organic. It kills the weeds here, helps helps lower the pH of the soil here, because we're at 9 something. And but I have those, and I'm using that instead of Roundup, and instead of other ground clear and stuff like that, and it works great. But it gives me these jugs that had vinegar in it. You rinse it out once, and you can put water in it, and you may need to just let it breathe for a while after you open it again to get rid of the vinegar, any vinegar smell left in it. But there are options for some heavier duty ones that are food grade, had food stuffed in it, that you can reuse. That unlike the juice bottles, you get the half gallon, or whether the juice bottles, the V8 bottles, and all the others, those tend to pick up the food flavoring into the pores of the plastic. Even though it's a heavier duty plastic, they'll still pick up the pores on it, and you'll get tainted in the water as far as flavoring, and sometimes you get tainted from bacteria if you don't sanitize those bottles.
So one last thing, and I want to say hello to Kay Bird. I saw that you joined us. Welcome. Maggie, would you do me a favor? You turned me on to a chemical treatment that helps with the taste of water that's been in storage for some time. You and I had this discussion quite a while ago, and but you were talking about a particular commercially available additive to water that improves taste of water that's been in storage for a while. Would you put that in the comments for me, please? And then we're going to get ready to shut this down.
There is something else that's non-chemical to help water get taste better. Because what happens when water gets stored, the oxygen, the air comes out of it. And I did a video on it showing what happens when you take a gallon jug, fill it full of water. Over time, how much all of a sudden you got this much airspace at the top. And let's just put like a fish tank aerator bubbler, You have one of those, sterilized, you drop it in the tank, and you turn it on for a day, and it aerates the water again. And the water tastes, just tastes like Crystal Spring Reservoir stuff.
Yes, you're right, Phaeoxerus, that anything that's in contact with a fireball will be flashed to steam, and it has a radioactive half-life so short that 99% of the radioactivity in that steam is gone within 5 minutes. So yes, it is radioactive. You're absolutely correct. It is steam. It's radioactive steam. But within 5 minutes, all that radioactivity is gone because of the half-life of the whatever the byproduct is that it creates. The main thing you have to be worried about in a radioactive water situation is fallout, whether that be from nuclear contamination or whether it be from a dirty bomb. Let me see if I can get down here. Gosh, an awful lot of.
All right. Now that was Aussie Life. You asked to look up that.
Huh?
Was that Aussie Life you asked to look up the chemical? All right. She said a mineral drop ? I will see if I can find what I ordered. pretty sure it's mineral additives. So that's down near the bottom there.
Okay.
And I'm watching for her to
I'm
post.
trying to catch up with the comments. There's so many good ones. Okay, I caught up with it. I see where she said that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and Shenanigans says that they get a bottle of water refresher at Walmart in the RV section. And Maggie says that's what she uses.
Yeah. One of the things I do is, like, if I have the gallon jugs or something, I just shake it up. You can just shake that up good and it'll reoxygenate it. And that's where a lot of the flavor is from. When you taste water it's called flat water, where all the air has come out of it, it just doesn't taste right. When you put the oxygen back into it, it tastes fine.
Kaylin, I started to say that. I think you caught me stop myself because I'm just not 100% sure. And I hate putting out information I'm not 100% sure of. I believe that is right, but I will let you say it and not me. How's that? And I will support you for saying it. But I started to say it.
You put question marks at the end.
Yeah. I believe that is the correct terminology. But anyhow, okay. Any other questions or comments before we get ready to close? Gosh, it's been thank you, Gil, for joining us and adding to the conversation. I greatly appreciate it. I don't know. What do y'all think? Was tonight a success as far as you're concerned? Did we have a pretty good discussion? And I noticed there was a lot of great side chat. Thank you for that. That's always greatly appreciated. So next week, we're talking chapter 5, which is going to be the deep larder, your family's food storage. So he's talking about basically all different kinds of food storage. And I know there are some people who put a lot of emphasis on MREs and CRATs. And I have some, but I don't put as much stock in it as a lot of other people do. Okay. I have some other preferences. Huh?
I looked up what Kaylin put, and it says that, however you pronounce it, is a stable isotope of hydrogen. Natural water contains nearly 150 parts per million of that, whereas water source, city water contains less than the natural abundance of how to pronounce that. It's also known as uranium depleted water. So, just some more information for you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so let me see. I still haven't unpacked my bag from Bible study. Golly, I don't know why I haven't done that yet. But let me turn here to Numbers chapter 6, verses 24, 25, 26. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers. Number 6. I don't have, this is a fantastic, for those of you, if you're interested, this is just a phenomenal Bible. It's what I used when I was a minister. But it's the Thompson Chain Reference Bible. So is the name of it. It's in King James, but it has everything. I mean, it's got a lexicon. It's got information as far as historical information, all kinds of different stuff. Look up Thompson Chain Reference, and so you're going to see in the margins, it's got all kinds of notes on cross-reference to other verses in the Bible, so you can really do some very in-depth studies if that's what you want to do. So let me get my eyes working here. Number 6, verses 24, 25, 26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift his countenance upon you and give you peace. So thank you, Gil. Thank you, everybody who in chat. Thank you, Theoxorus, Maggie, gosh, a little on Prepper, Holly. All you guys had such great information to add to the conversation this evening. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I can't tell you how much I appreciate the fact that everybody is so nice to each other and that we have become basically a family. So if you can make it down here for the get-together this coming Saturday at Georgetown, San Gabriel, thank you, Helen, San Gabriel Park. from 2 to 7. I would greatly enjoy meeting you there and hope to see you there. So remember that we're all in this together so we can get out the other side together. Please be kind, polite, and respectful to each other, because you aren't going to get through this alone. We got to do it together. Take care, everybody. Have a nice evening.